In today's tutorial, I'm trying something a little different. We'll create a floral painting for my bedroom using acrylics on linen. Thank you to Nordgreen for sponsoring today's tutorial. These minimal Scandinavian-made watches are my current favorite and have been for some time, and I'll tell you more about them later in the video. Hey friends, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell. Coming at you a little more casual today. I'm at home filming on my phone. I am 37 weeks pregnant today. I actually am in the process of I'm fully in the process of nesting, and I am kind of zhuzhing up my bedroom a little bit. It's a really minimal space, but lately I've been trying to make it a little bit more cozy, and I want to incorporate some artwork. Last spring I did a little linen painting just for fun and posted it on my Instagram, and it got a really good response, so I've been meaning to do a tutorial for about the last year. Here's what the room looks like. You come in the door, we've got a desk here for when we're working at home. There's an IKEA dresser that I made over using just some hardware I ordered on Amazon and a bit of paint. I have some of my own artwork, and there is a video about that, so I'll link it in the description. And then we have our bed, and everything's pretty chill and minimal and cozy, but I feel like we need a little bit of art on this side of the room. So that's what I'm going to be kind of thinking about today. So yeah, this side of the room, we built this pretty peg rack, but it's otherwise pretty basic over here. Whereas the other side of the room, there's a little more going on. So I kind of want to balance it out a little bit today. I have this clip, it looks like vintagey kind of, and I think that's going to be cute hanging on the wall. So I just put a nail on the wall there, and then that's a great way to switch your art out really easily, very impermanent. I wouldn't say I know very much at all about acrylic painting, but definitely I don't know much about painting on linen or painting on fabrics. However, I don't want that to stop me. You know, you don't have to be a pro at something to just try it out. We're not selling this work. This is just for fun, just for my home, something different, something fun. If you do have experience though with painting on linen or with acrylics, and I know a lot of people will probably ask how to seal this, so feel free to drop a comment with hints and tips below. But for my part, I just want to try something new. That's where my creativity really shines. I love trying new things, whether it's leatherworking, hand sewing, candy making, photography. I love it all. So today we'll try a little acrylic on linen and hopefully make some cute art for my bedroom. Okay, here are my supplies. So I am going to work on a 9x12 canvas board. You could do any size you like. It's really thin. That's going to make it perfect for putting in that clip, right? Okay, and then I am going to cover my canvas board with linen. So my local fabric store actually was selling these really beautiful linen fat quarters. They were $5 each. It's a great way to just buy a small piece of fabric. But I really love the linen that they sell at IKEA. It's very rough, very textured, and that is what I'll be using today. I just love the beautiful texture of it, and it is quite cheap as well if you're at IKEA. We're going to grab some duct tape. Mine just happens to be white, but it doesn't matter what color duct tape. We'll flip that over, and I am just going to use the duct tape to create my little canvas. Again, I'm not selling this. This is just for me. It's a crafty art project. You know, you could do a proper canvas by buying a wooden frame and then using a staple gun to attach the linen. So that's an option, but I want something thin. And I mean, if duct tape is good enough for my furnace, I feel like it's good enough for this. So I'm just doing all four sides, really pulling as tight as I can, but you are still going to see some wrinkles in the fabric, and that is okay because we still need to do the corners. So if it looks a little loose, worry not. We're going to pull that as tight as we can, just tape down as much, leaving the corner untaped to the point where you would be able to do a nice little fold. So I'm just going to do a little triangle fold there. All the rest of the fabric is already pulled tightly and taped. And then I just do that little triangle fold in the corner, and I'm gonna put the tape on and pull it as tight as I can. And that is how I get a nice smooth edge or smooth corner. We'll put another piece of tape there, and I'm gonna go around and do all 4 corners. And you can see that already looks a lot better, and the linen is pulling more, and I don't have as many creases in my fabric. So continuing on, I've pulled the fabric as much as I can, taped down as much as I possibly can, and then you just leave that little corner open, add a piece of tape there, and tape your fold. Just fold it as best you can. As long as it looks like it's laying pretty much flat, you're gonna be fine, and you just don't wanna see the tape on the flip side, but this side can be messy, no problem. And you can see how nice that looks, and everything looks pretty straight, and the fabric is even, and there's really no creases. And if there is a small crease, that'll tend to stretch out when you add the paint. And let's talk about our paint supplies. I am using a large tin palette, but acrylics dry quickly. It's not a bad idea to just use like a yogurt lid. And then I have some just inexpensive craft quality acrylic paints. I got these, I think, at Michael's. And I've got all different brands, just stuff I've picked up over the years because I don't use it that often. Let's talk colors quickly. I have a couple different greens, sap green, phthalo green. For the white flowers, I'll be using white, but I'll also be using beige, and even I've got this cheap peach color, maybe even a little bit of pink. This is a deep magenta, but I can, just use the tiniest little hint. Even a bit of yellow. I don't want just strictly white flowers. I want to incorporate different colors to make the flowers really lively. And then those browns, those are mostly for the stamen. Brushes, I am just using some inexpensive synthetic brushes. You can see 3 of them are round, kind of a round shape, and then I have 1 flat brush, but really just you could use stuff from the dollar store. Like, don't overthink the brushes. Don't use your good watercolor brushes. Acrylics dry really fast, and they're very hard to wash out once they dry. I'm just adding all my paints to the palette so that I can easily mix as I progress through my painting. These are the colors for the white flowers. So those I've added all along the bottom of the palette. I have sort of a yellow ochre and I think a burnt sienna or something. That'll be for the center of the flower. Let's start there. I'm using 2 glasses of clean water. I've got paper towel there, and then I am just using water to thin my acrylics. Again, this is just a fun, crafty project for me. There are different mediums you can use to thin acrylics, or to thicken them, or to add texture to them, but you can also just add water, and you can get acrylics at the dollar store. So this is kind of that level of project. And you'll notice I'm mixing a lot of beige and even a little bit of peach into my white. I am going to start darker for these flowers, and then I will add the pure white on top. So we're starting dark, and then we'll add highlights towards the end. I want to take just a moment to thank Nordgreen for sponsoring our video today. These minimal classic watches are absolutely my favorite, and you know that's true because I wear my Nordgreen watch in every single video. This is the watch that, bumped all my other watches out of rotation, and I actually just got a new one from their new Unica line for women. This is it here. It's a really classic timepiece. I love the dark leather and the rose gold face. And I also just picked up a watch for my sister to help her celebrate her first Mother's Day. Yes, we were both pregnant at the same time, and she just gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. So I want to send this native watch to her. It's the same one I already have. It has beautiful mother of pearl face, and I got her a bundle with 2 straps. So she can switch from the rose gold to this vegan gray leather. And right now, Nordgreen has a Mother's Day special on from the 26th of April to the 9th of May. The price of a watch and strap, 1 watch, 1 strap bundle will be the same as the price of just 1 watch. And you can get an additional 15% off using code Shayda. Celebrate the woman who raised you this Mother's Day. Head to the Nordgreen website to get a beautiful, elegant timepiece and use code Shayda for 15% off. Let's begin our painting. Using that beigey or peachy white, I am going to start by laying out 3 or 4 flowers on my canvas. I'm going to do 3 or 4 flowers kind of in a cascading pattern. I'm keeping everything really loose. You could draw out your design ahead of time. Let me, mention that if that would make you more comfortable. I'm just kind of jumping right in. But I'm still approaching my flowers the same way I do when I paint watercolor flowers, and that is one petal at a time. And that's just a really, for me, straightforward approach. One petal, then another, then another. You can see here I'm doing 3 petals across the top. They're all a little messy, and then we'll put 2 more at the bottom. And I'm just trying to kind of work out these organic shapes. That rough linen is going to make it look so that the paint is, not sitting very smooth. So you might get some rough edges, and you can leave them really rough if you like that, or you can try to smooth them out. It may take thinning the paint a little bit more with that water, but just do whatever you like. This is all about creating a piece of art that, works within your home and is for your taste. And I'll just reiterate that my white flowers at this point are quite beigey. So I am starting a little bit darker. Okay, this petal looks a little bit brighter, but for the most part, I am doing these beigey flowers, and we will add the white later. So I've done 2 flowers now. For my 3rd flower, I want it kind of pointing in the opposite direction. So I'm kind of painting these cup-shaped petals, and this flower will be pointing down towards the bottom of the canvas. So I did the front 3 petals, and now I'll do 2 or 3 more petals kind of peeking out from behind those. So very loose, large flowers cascading down the canvas. You can see me mixing up even a darker beigey peach. And for the last flower, I thought, why don't I just do one that's kind of somewhere between flower and bud? A flower that's opening but isn't quite there, so it's a little smaller. So in that way, I'm achieving some size contrast, and the piece has a nice flow to it. The flowers move down and kind of flow along that canvas and end in that really tiny flower or bud. One nice thing about acrylics is you can start light and then go dark, or start dark and then go light. It does not matter, unlike watercolors where you kind of have to start light and then build from there. So I am grabbing even more peach and more darker beige, and I am darkening these flowers even a little bit more. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow, a little more peach, and just make sure that these flowers are not flat looking, not flat in any way. I want there to be some random bits of darker beige and random bits of yellow. And it's just going to really add a nice, lively, organic aspect that, it's just going to look really pretty and help these flowers really jump off the canvas. Channel patrons, this is the first weekend of May, and that means there's an exclusive tutorial waiting for you on Patreon as of tomorrow. This month I had a request for watercolor tulips, so that's exactly what we're doing. If you're interested in supporting the YouTube channel, all the extra bonus content like monthly tutorials and worksheets starts at $2 a month. So there we go. My flowers, I'm going to let them dry, and we will start adding some leaves. So I'm working with sap green and deep phthalo green. And again, just thinning my paint with water. You can totally thin acrylics with water because they are water-based. Sometimes it's nice to add a little brown into your green. If you feel like your greens are too vibrant, that can help. And then we'll get a good amount of that green paint on our brush. And I am approaching these leaves much like I do with my watercolors, where I am just running that brush across the page, getting, or the linen in this case, allowing a shape to emerge, a nice organic shape. And then I kind of go back with the tip of the brush and refine the shape of the leaf a little. So sort of run the brush across the linen, just allow that leaf shape to emerge, and then you can add a little bit of a point to it or a little bit of a stem. I'm not going to worry too much about stems and branches right now. I'll actually grab a smaller paintbrush and kind of do all the little connectors and branches later with a smaller brush. But I'm kind of just adding green leaves wherever I think one would look good. I would like to border the flowers and kind of continue the cascade of plants that is sort of running through or flowing across this canvas. So I want to make sure that I'm adding lots of green leaves through the middle to kind of continue that linear nature of the painting. And then I kind of just, everything's kind of on a diagonal line. So continuing that flow. And here you can see me coming in with the smaller brush and connecting everything, you know, adding all the little delicate stems. So don't feel like you need to achieve that with the larger brush. It's so much easier, especially on the rough linen, to use the small brush for this portion. At this point, I've added a lot of stems and branches. I've refined the shapes of some of the larger leaves. Now I can kind of step back from the painting, wash out that small brush, come back in with the larger brush and maybe add another leaf or two wherever you feel like you might need one. You don't want to overdo it. We do want there to be lots of negative space, lots of that beautiful linen showing through. So I think that's part of the charm of wrapping the canvas in linen, is that it becomes a beautiful part of the piece. So we don't want to cover that up too much. But let's do some kind of broken leaves. I have a lot of really smooth, refined leaves. Now I want to do some kind of messier ones here. And yeah, I think that looks good. Continuing my linear flow, but I think this will probably be my last leaf. Okay, maybe one more. But that is the gist of this painting. You know, you start with those 3 or 4 flowers cascading down the canvas, border them with a perimeter of beautiful dark green leaves. And then those beigey flowers that are all beige and peach and yellow. Now we come back in with just that bright white. I'm using a little bit of white on the tip of my flat brush, and I am adding highlights. So at this point, I really am going to get those flowers to jump off the canvas, because of course the peach and the beige, they're very close to the color of the linen, and that is a really nice aspect. Actually, it makes it hard to mess up the flowers. But they really do shine when you add that beautiful bright white. And one thing I'll say is just make sure you don't cover up all the beautiful color that you did achieve with the yellow and the peach. You want to make these flowers appear white, but do it sparingly. That's a little vague, I know, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of adding highlights. I want the flowers to appear white, but I do want that beautiful beige and peach and yellow to shine through. It really gives you these very lively, very not real looking flowers, but you've captured an aspect of the natural world, the real world. You've captured color and movement in what is otherwise a very loose, whimsical painting. Okay, now all I need to do is grab some of that dark brown, and we are going to add these messy stamens to the center of our flowers. And you can see I'm just doing clusters of dots and lines, and I'm grabbing from both the yellow and the brown, and I'm not even washing the brush in between. I'm just doing this big messy cluster, a little bit of dark yellow, that yellow ochre, a little bit of brown. On this flower that's facing down, you're kind of just seeing the top of the stamen peeking through. For these big open flowers at the top of the canvas, you're seeing a much larger stamen. And for the bud, it's just the hint of a stamen at the top of the bud. And then this is optional, but you could add a little bit of a lighter green to some of the leaves, just like we added that white on the flowers. A little bit of a highlight can really make them jump off the linen. And you don't have to overthink it. Just, a swipe of light green here, a swipe of light green there. You don't need to do it to all the leaves, just a couple, and that's that. With With my floral linen painting complete, I am ready to simply add that clip to it, that vintage looking clip, and then we can hang it in my bedroom. And as I said, it's a really great way to switch art out. You could hang a photograph from that clip and kind of change it up depending on the season or your mood. Thanks again to Nordgreen for sponsoring today's video. Nordgreen is a Danish watch brand that cares about people and the environment. They not only have sustainable packaging, but they have carbon neutral shipping, planting thousands of trees to offset the carbon emissions generated by their office in Copenhagen. And they have a giving back program donated to 3 global NGOs. So this Mother's Day, get an elegant timepiece for mom. Right now you can bundle a watch with that extra strap for the price of 1 watch. And don't forget to use code Shayda for your 15% off. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you soon with a new tutorial.